Welcome to Becoming Astrology. I'm your host and astrologer, Heather Reaves. In our first episode, we will discuss the astrology for the week of June 5th to 11th of 2023. This week, the moon takes center stage and has lots to say to all of the planets. Transits to keep in mind are Jupiter and the North Node are still conjunct in the early degrees of Taurus, even though they exacted last week. This conjunction will not happen again until November 25th, 2030, at 7 degrees of Sagittarius. This energy is asking you, what do you want to grow and expand on this earth now? What is your destiny, and how are you expressing that into this world? Venus enters Leo for a prolonged stay in the brightest sign of the zodiac, where she can play and shine her light of love and values. Pluto enters Capricorn until late January 2024. This is his last stay in Capricorn for 240 years. We will shift from bright ideas for the community back to grounded action for ourselves. And Mercury enters Gemini for a lightning fast stay of fast-witted thoughts, words, and camaraderie. We also have a last quarter moon in Pisces, inviting us to close down lessons we've learned in the Pisces area of our chart and psychologically integrate those lessons. So, with all of that in mind, let's splash into the week. Since this is my first episode, I want to walk you through how I've presented these aspects so that you can work with them. I have 2 slides for each day. The first one is our gifts, and the second one is our challenges. And they represent the types of aspects that we'll be asked to work with. So I have our chart here, and then the aspects are in different colors. And then I also have them listed over here. Also, I have prompts for you to work with this energy. That way you're not just hearing it, but you can actually say, oh, this is how I can work with these energies. These are questions you can ask yourselves, journal prompts you can use, or just ponderings you can have throughout the day. So let's start with our gifts on Monday. Monday is going to be a busy day. These aspects feel good, and they invite us to be our best selves. Starting off the week, the moon in Capricorn semi-sextiles Pluto in Aquarius. So that's this yellow line right here. The moon has grounded emotions that can help Pluto release transformation to the community. Next up, we have Venus entering Leo. She'll be here until October 10th. Venus is the planet of love, values, and relationships. Leo is ruled by the sun and represented by the lion. Venus can play in Leo and let Leo's fire light her up. Her prolonged stay in Leo is because she will go retrograde and form a Venus star point at 20 degrees of Leo. This is going to be a time to shine your values in love and relationships while radiating creativity and passion wherever this falls in your chart. And if you're not sure where that falls in your chart, just look for this symbol right here that represents Leo and then the number that's associated with it. So this would be a 12th house Leo, which would be your deep psychological emotions and deep-seated work inside of you would really want you to shine if this were your chart. Next up, the moon in Capricorn sextiles the south node in Scorpio, while also trining the north node in Jupiter in Taurus. So anytime we have a sextile aspect with a node, we always have a trine to go with it and vice versa, because the nodes are on opposite ends of the zodiac. The moon sextiling the south node is a working aspect, and it invites us to be grounded about what we need to release, either emotionally, mentally, or physically into the world. So it's a good time to go through that closet or get out your journal and do some stream of consciousness journaling to let some things out. At the same time, the moon trining Jupiter in the north node invites you to ground your dreams into reality and put it to work. Taurus wants to work. It wants to plant seeds, and it wants to get ready for the harvest. And the moon is saying it's a really good time to do that. And we also have the moon in Capricorn sextiling Saturn in Pisces. This is another working aspect, with the moon asking Saturn what boundaries has he let dissolve since the last time they met up that were too rigid. Saturn in Pisces is more compassionate, and he has some walls to break down after the last 5 years in Aquarius and Capricorn. What rigidity have you let go of in the last 20-some days so that you can better ground your emotions and nurture yourself? These aspects are listed as challenges, and they may feel tense or argumentative and downright difficult. Many times we are asked to make a choice, adjust, or take action. Since the moon is involved in many of these aspects, they're going to be really quick. So first up, we have the moon in Capricorn quincunx Venus and Leo. That's this yellow line. Quincunxes ask us to adjust so we can realize our full potential in that area of our chart. Your emotions are grounded and perhaps a bit cooler right now, while Venus is just walking into the sun. This minor irritation will pass quickly, and don't let the moon dampen your Venus party too much. Next up, Venus in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius. Venus's entrance into Leo is off to a bit of a rough start, as she tells Pluto she's ready to take some time for herself to shine, and she's going to let him worry about the transformations of the community. He wants her to be serious and to consider the impact on humanity, but she's ready to play. Pluto will have a 20-year-long transit in the humanitarian sign of Aquarius, and Venus just had to stay in Cancer, where she put everyone else first. I personally say, let Venus loose and let her shine. She and Pluto will have many more oppositions with Pluto in Aquarius over the next 20 years, where she can negotiate with him and give in to his side some. So next up, we are on Tuesday, June 6th, and looking at our day, we have a short list of aspects. Should be a pretty easy one. So the moon in Capricorn trines Uranus and Mercury in Taurus. The moon has our emotions a bit cooler and much more grounded in Capricorn. They can also be a little fixed and hard to move like a rock. Uranus and Mercury had a conversation last week about what they want to shake up and grow in the world. The moon is letting them know that their choices are good and logical, and to get those seeds planted now before Mercury moves into Gemini. For you, what ideas did you have last week that you would like to bring to fruition? Take a step forward and make a get started choice. And so we still have that cool, grounded moon asking the sun in Gemini to ask more questions and listen to the answers so you can see your full potential. So next up on Tuesday, the moon in Capricorn quincunx the sun in Gemini. We still have a cool, grounded moon asking the sun in Gemini to ask more questions and to listen to the answers so you can see your full potential. What questions do you need to ask so you can see the full picture? All right, on Wednesday, we are going to have a busier day on Wednesday. And it's going to be about split between the gifts and the challenges. But let's start with our gifts. So the moon in Capricorn sextiles Neptune in Pisces. That's this green line right here. And Neptune is the planet of dreams, and it's also the planet of delusion. So the moon and Neptune met up 20-some days ago and thought up a new dream in the Neptune area of your chart. This is a working aspect, and the moon wants to know what grounded support Neptune needs to help bring that dream forward. The moon also conjuncts Pluto in Aquarius. This is Pluto's last shot to tell the moon what he wants to deeply transform in humanity and the community until February 2024. Then the moon in Aquarius semi-sextiles Saturn in Pisces. The moon in Aquarius is detached and tells Saturn it's okay to dissolve that boundary they were talking about on Monday. So we're talking a lot about dreams today. Some dreams are bigger than others, and some dreams take a lot more time than others. What dream can you bring home soon? Maybe it's a small dream, or it's a piece of a bigger dream. And then what dream is going to take more time but it still deserves to be thought of now. That may be a 20 or 25-year dream. Go ahead and allow that seed to be planted now, and it will come to fruition later when you can start doing it in small snippets. That's going to help you work with the energies of the planets more readily rather than trying to bite off the whole apple instead of just a bite. And here are our more challenging aspects for Wednesday. The moon in Aquarius is opposite Venus in Leo. Kind of seems like the moon is picking on Venus this week. She's making her feel a bit guilty about her decision to play instead of worrying about the community. This is her time to warm up. Venus is answering to the sun now because she's in Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun. She's not answering to the moon anymore like she was when she was in Cancer. So let her shine. Let her warm up. The moon in Aquarius also squares the North Node in Jupiter and the South Node in Scorpio. The moon wants us to take action to release what's no longer serving us so we can follow our calling and expand our destiny into the here and now. What does the Taurus area of your chart call you to do? Let go so you can make some room for your destiny. All right, next up on Thursday, we have a quieter day. And we start with the moon in Aquarius trining the sun in Gemini. The intellectual moon is really liking all the information the sun in Gemini is finding out right now. Keep asking questions and get all the information you can from all of the sources. You don't have to do anything with it right now, but getting that information can help you make decisions down the road. And on Thursday, we have our challenges, which is the moon in Aquarius squares Uranus in Taurus. The moon wants to know exactly how what Uranus is shaking up is going to benefit the community. Also, Venus in Leo squares the nodes in Taurus and Scorpio. Keep in mind, the moon just did this yesterday. And so Venus is saying to the nodes, hey, what are we doing to follow this destiny? How can I help you shine brightly in doing it? What love can I bring to the picture so that your destiny is shining bright? And on Friday, we have a busy day. The moon in Aquarius semi-sextiles Neptune in Pisces, right here in that yellow line. The moon has a vision of how the dream will help the community. Next up, moon in Pisces semi-sextiles Pluto in Aquarius. The moon is letting Pluto know it's going to work with sensitivity to make his dream for the community come true. The moon gives Pluto a kiss before he enters Capricorn. Moon in Pisces also sextiles Jupiter and the North Node in Taurus while trining the South Node in Scorpio. So if you remember, earlier this week, we had the moon sextile the South Node in Jupiter and trine the North Node, earlier this week, we had the moon sextile the South Node in Scorpio while trining the North Node in Taurus, and Jupiter in Taurus. And so now this is kind of flipping that around. It's the vice versa. Jupiter and the North Node have set the course for their dream for the next 7.5, 12, and 19 years after their conjunction in Taurus last week. The moon is sensitive to how special this dream is and supports them while telling the South Node in Scorpio, this is a really good dream and we can release the past now. So that could mean releasing past stories that are no longer serving you. That could be releasing by doing some psychological integration of changes that have happened in your life. And it could also be physically releasing things from your life. Maybe you need to go through your bookcase or through a closet or a drawer, but now is the time to do it. We have one more month with the South Node in Scorpio, and it's a great time to move things on from your life that are no longer serving you. Next up, we have a non-moon aspect. The Mercury in Taurus sextiles Neptune in Pisces. So this aspect is referring back to the 12 to 13-year dream that was set in April of 2022 when Jupiter and Neptune conjuncted at 27 degrees Pisces. You can see here, Neptune is still at 27 degrees of Pisces. Neptune does not move very fast. But Mercury met Neptune earlier this year to get his task to help work on that Jupiter-Neptune dream. So Mercury is now telling Neptune, hey, I've been to working and I sowed some seeds and I'll be off soon to do what I do best, which is share the news of this dream in Gemini and what we're doing. And of course, we do have a couple challenging aspects on Friday. The moon in Pisces squares Mercury in Taurus. That's right here. And the moon is sensitive in Pisces and Mercury is practical in Taurus. Are you facing a decision that conflicts between your emotions and your practical values? Maybe one isn't right and the other isn't wrong. Maybe both deserve to be heard, and that's decision enough. The moon in Pisces quincunxes Venus in Leo. She's really picking on Leo this week, guys. The moon asks Venus to pay attention to her deep emotions so she can really bring forth her best values and deepest love while she's shining bright in Leo. So while this is a challenging aspect, I do think that it's actually a positive outcome for it. And we have one more aspect that's not on my sheet here. I'm so sorry for that. We do have the moon conjunct Saturn in Pisces. So this is the start of a 20-some day story where the moon is saying, hey, Saturn, we just closed up that story of what boundaries we were dissolving or what emotions we were softening, what structures we might be releasing. So with that in mind, we have another 20-some day cycle coming up where I'm going to go around the zodiac and I'm going to come back to meet you. What do you want to work on? What structures do we want to tweak or change? Are there emotional patterns that we want to try to release in the next 30 days that have been a structure in our life that maybe is holding us back? All right, on Saturday, we have a quiet day. And on Saturday, the moon in Pisces sextiles Uranus in Taurus. The moon is working to psychologically integrate the changes Uranus has been making in the Taurus area of your chart. And our challenges, the moon in Pisces quincunxes Mars in Leo. The moon asks Mars to pay attention to his deepest emotions so he can take actions that allow him to shine the brightest in Leo. Again, an uncomfortable aspect, but if you work with it, I think it's going to work out really well for you. The moon in Pisces also squares the sun in Gemini. This is a closing square of the new moon in Taurus on May 19th. What decisions or actions remain to be taken on the intention that you set at the new moon? What about the intentions that you set in mid-March of 2021? So why do intentions set in mid-March of 2021 matter now? This is the final major phase in the Pisces lunar phase family that started on March 13th, 2021. As a Sagittarius myself, I really like to set longer-term goals that really look into the future and give me time to strategically plan. I like lunar phase families as they take 2.25 years to complete, and it gives me a longer trajectory to plan out how my intentions set at the new moon will come to fruition at the end. A 30-day cycle with the new moon, full moon, just feels really short to me, and because I like to set really big goals. So, in this lunar phase family, we had the Pisces new moon on March 13th, 2021. So a new moon is really having the opportunity to say, okay, what area of my chart is this happening in? And what dreams or changes do I have that I want to bring to fruition into this world? What seeds do I want to sow? A first quarter moon, like in this one that happened on December 11th, 2021, is a decision point. A full moon is a culmination of that decision becoming reality. So the Pisces full moon in this family happened on September 10th, 2022. And a last quarter moon is harvesting the crop of the seeds that you planted on the new moon. So this Pisces last quarter moon happening on June 10th, hopefully, yeah, you might have some decisions to make to wrap up the dream, but hopefully you are also reaping the rewards of the harvest that you set on March 13th, 2021. So themes around this may include deep psychological integration, art, music, substances, that's kind of the darker side of Pisces, and also dreams. All right, and Sunday is going to be a really good day. Today we have the moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces. What dream in your deep psyche do you want to work on for the next 20-some days? It doesn't have to be big, but the moon can go talk to all the other planets and get their support and action on this dream. Mercury enters Gemini until June 28th. Get ready for lots of chatter over this next month as Mercury enters his sign of exaltation for less than a month. We're going to get lots of news from many different sides. This is a great time to learn a lot about something finite as you have a small window of time. Mercury keeps things light and breezy in Gemini. Just don't lose sight that many of the other planets are looking for more substance during his transit of Gemini. So again, we have a pretty heavy Taurus. We have a heavy Pisces. The Leo planets are going to support Mercury and Gemini to have fun and be lighthearted, but just don't lose sight of some of these heavier placements. This is also a really good time to connect with your siblings or those that you view as siblings. You're sure to have a really good time. Mercury in Gemini trines Pluto in Aquarius. Mercury gets one last chat in with Pluto while he's in Aquarius to let him know he's going to spread the news about the transformations that come to the community. So keep your eye open on this day. There might be some news in the media coming out. And Pluto retrograde enters Capricorn until January 20th, 2024. This is his last day in Capricorn during our lifetime. Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008 and changed many of our lives through deep transformation. What area of your chart did this occur in? This is your chance to wrap up the deep stories, the deep hurts, the deep transformations that came from this transit. You're likely a different person now. What are the things that you need to tie up to complete this transformation so you can fully embrace Pluto in Aquarius? That's what this time is between now and the end of January. It's a gift to go back, tie up those loose strings, and bring that transformation to a close. Because we're going to start a new transformation over the next 20 years when Pluto goes back into Aquarius. Last up, we have the moon in Aries trining Venus in Leo. Finally, a fun aspect for the moon in Taurus. The moon wants to know what she can do to quickly bring support to Venus so that Venus can shine brightly. It's a really nice aspect. And last aspect for the week is Venus and Leo squaring Jupiter and the North Node in Taurus. This is about deciding how to bring love, light, and value to the Jupiter North Node dream that you're working on. What is one thing you can do to make it shine super bright? Thank you so much for tuning into Becoming Astrology and sharing the astrology this week with me. Tell me in the comments below where these transits are hitting in your chart and what is the big dream you're working on. Also, if I said anything that wasn't clear, please let me know what your questions are and I will respond to you to hopefully help you feel more confident in your astrological understanding. Also, if you have any astrology questions, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments. I would love to answer listener questions on the next episode. I appreciate all the time that you take to like, subscribe, share this video with your astrology friends and family. If you'd like to be notified when next week's video posts, hit that notification bell and be the first to know. Many blessings to you this week as you transform on your astrological journey to who you are truly becoming.